Alright, what is up YouTube? It is the Ville Outdoors here. We are exploring not really a new creek, but a new section of creek close to home here in Chester County, PA. Now it seems fairly small, but parts of this creek are known to have wild brown trout that I have seen before. Now I never fished at this end, don't really even know anything about this end, so we're just going to be exploring today and see what we can come across. If this spot doesn't work out, I have several other spots lined up along this creek that I've never explored before, so that's what we're going to be doing today. Going to be a lot of uncertainty going around, just going to spots and seeing if there's fish. I got the trout magnet tied on, kind of the clearish color for these ultra clear water conditions, and we're going to see if we can find any fish, but it'll be a lot of guessing, so stick with it, stay tuned, and hopefully we can find some fish today. Alright guys, I just spotted my first fish, and they were hanging out right under this down tree right here. Hopefully I didn't spook them when I just stirred up that mud, but they were very small fish. Luckily I did bring my Tanago hooks and little pieces of worm, since they are not trout and we're technically not fishing. I believe I can use worms this particular section, so I'm gonna get the Tanago tied on real quick and see if I can spot one of these fish again and not spook them. Well guys, that fish didn't want to bite, or at least I couldn't see it after I saw it the first time, so I guess I spooked it there. So we have an option to either exit the trail over here or go down this creepy long tunnel. Now it looks like it's all like a centimeter or so deep. And I can see the exit, so let's see if there's anything on the other side. If not, we'll walk back and try a different spot. I just spooked some fish under these branches here, so I'm gonna see if I can try and find them and get them to bite again. Chances of that are slim, but we'll give it a shot. Finally found some fish here, guys. I think we'll be able to get one to bite. There's a fish. Get up here, let's see what it is. It is a creek chub, I think. It's either a creek chub or we just found the fish that we were after, being the Allegheny Pearl Dace. It's got a very, very reddish hue to it, so I think we found it. I think we found the fish we were after, guys. Alright guys, I believe this is an Allegheny Pearl Dace, at least I'm 99% sure, which is a rare species in the area and exactly the fish I was after today. So I'm going to take some detailed shots of this guy and make sure we photograph him well. I'm probably going to get the photo tank ready and put one in there. But it seems like there's a couple other samples over there, so we're going to see if we can catch more than one. But we at least got one. This is definitely not a creek chub, so very cool. Alright guys, last look at our supposed pearl dace here in the photo tank. He is eager to get out, but see he's got like the pinkish, pearlish kind of hue to him on the lateral line there. That's what leads me to believe that this is indeed an Allegheny Pearl Dace and not a creek chub. Finding them this close to home is very, very cool. Previously I drove just about 2.5 hours to catch this guy in Maryland, so if this is indeed an Allegheny Pearl Dace, finding them this close to home here in Chester County, PA, that is really cool. So I'm going to go ahead and let this guy go now, and there are a few other individuals over there that I'm going to try and catch, so I'll show you guys how I'm doing this here. But we're going to go ahead and let Mr. Pearl Dace go. Last look. Off he goes. Alright, so we got to be very stealthy because these fish spook pretty darn easily. Leave the photo tank there. We still got a bait, tiny little piece of worm on the Saga hook there. We're gonna stealthily creep back over to where we found Dace, and we're gonna try and get a bait on the bottom here. Ever so stealthily drop it down and wait for fish to find it. Yep, there was one. Alright, let's give this guy a look. This is a decent sized one here. See that pinkish color on the fins there? Definitely characteristic of the good old Allegheny Pearl Dace. Alright, there's fish number 2 there. Definitely does not look like creek chub, so to find this population on my own, it's pretty cool. I know some other people have caught this fish here in Chester County in the past, but I had no idea of where to find this fish. There was no pins on any of the websites I typically use to find my spots. So to find these fish here pretty much on my own, it's very, very cool. I went on my instinct yesterday because I know they have been caught coexisting with wild brown trout. And I was doing my research, putting up pins along this creek here, and the first spot I went to, I walked downstream until I found fish that looked like the fish I was after, and sure enough, it was indeed the fish we were after. There's still more. Let's see if we can get a third one. Stealthily drop the bait down. It's definitely a healthy population here. There's another fish. Alright, what are you? Yep, it's got the red. That is a good sign. Alright guys, Pearl Dace number 3 is going to go back in the water here. This is really, really cool. Oh, got another one. Come here, boy. Now this one's a little bit tricky. This one looks more like a standard creek chub. But it does have a little bit of that pearlish color there. Oh, can't even get him to... There he is. I still think that's a Pearl Dace. He's got the pinkish hue there right above the lateral line. We're just going to go ahead and let him go. And this has all been on a tiny piece of worm. These fish like sandy bottoms to do their spawning on, and they're only found in like real cold water creeks. And there's plenty of these creeks around here in eastern Pennsylvania, but not all of them have this fish, and in fact very few will actually have this fish. That's a little one. I don't want that one. See if we can get a bigger one to bite again. There's one. This one's a little chunky, possibly a spawning individual. See that big belly on him? Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I took a little bit of a break to see if any of these Pearl Dace would come back to this pool after a while. But it looks like they haven't come back. So I'm gonna walk downstream a little bit further. It's still kind of early in the afternoon. I got nowhere to be today, and we're gonna see if we can find any more populations of these pearl dace, or we just end up going home. I talked to a friend who's a fish biologist about this population, and he says about 6 miles from where the state actually sampled them, state of Pennsylvania that is. So that is pretty cool. I do see some survey flags along the creek here, but not positive if that means that they're surveying the stream or surveying something else or what. So yeah, finding fish in a spot that they haven't been found before, at least to my knowledge, is pretty cool. They've been found in this creek, but not this section of this creek, to my knowledge. And it seems like they can be quite sporadic because they were all in that hole a second ago and now they're gone. Alright. I found some fish here, so let's be very stealthy here. Not get our line caught in the tree. That should be a little bit better. There's a fish. Let's see what we got here. Oh, this one's real colored up. Look at that beauty. Sure, you get a good shot of that. Pretty guy. Alright, I got some good shots of this guy here. I'm gonna put him in the photo tank real quick before we let him go. Actually, there's a bunch more, so let's release this and get another bait down there. Well, we finally got another species for the day. This is the eastern black-nosed dace. Not what we were after, but we'll take it. There we go. Another fish here, and it is another pearl dace, it looks like. Yep. Beautiful fish. Let's take some shots of him. Another fat one. Alright, we got some more shots of our pearl dace here. I think this is our 5th one of the day. We're just going to go ahead and let them go. I'm trying to sight fish these guys from the eastern black-nosed dace. There's one. Good colors on this guy too. Look at that red. Let's go ahead and hook this guy and put him in the photo tank. That way we can show off those colors better for you. Look at that red there at the bottom. Look how pretty he is. Sheesh. That is a gorgeous fish. Alright, let's take a few more shots of this guy and then we're going to let him go. Guys, look at this pearl dace. Absolutely beautiful fish. Look at that red. That is crazy. And that black band. Oh my god, that's sick. We're gonna head and take a shot of this guy and then we're gonna let him go. Let's try and get one more here before we call it a day. There's one. Alright. This will be the last pearl dace of the video. Oh, and he popped off. Well, I think now we have to try for another one. Yep, there's one. Let's not let this one fly off the hook here. Not as pretty red on that one there, but it's got a little bit of a stripe. You can see it right there. Pretty fish. That is going to be our last Allegheny Pearl Dace of the day, as he flops off the hook there, but very pretty fish. So final look at him there. This is not a creek chub, this is the Allegheny Pearl Dace. So last look at this guy, he's gonna go back in the water there and he's good to go. Whew. Well, I had a lot of fun today tracking down those fish. It is, I don't even know what time it is right now, but it's sometime later in the afternoon, definitely after 12, probably like 2 something. And we've been exploring this creek here for quite some time, about 3 hours now, and after a lot of walking and not seeing any fish, we stumbled across a couple holes that yielded a fish that I didn't even know existed in this area of Pennsylvania until a few years back, and there was no information anywhere on where I could just go and find this fish, or at least hope to find this fish. So I kind of just pinned a bunch of different spots on Google Maps using my knowledge of what habitat the fish looks for. I know there had been samples from this creek, but this creek is a very, not a very long creek, but it's a pretty long creek. There's lots of different spots to fish, lots of different stretches to fish, little branches, this and that. So I just pinned pretty much every access spot I could of areas I hadn't been to in this creek, and it just so happens the first spot I went to today had the fish that we were looking for, the Allegheny Pearl Dace. I didn't see any wild brown trout at this end, which is probably why the Allegheny Pearl Dace is able to thrive so much at this end, because the population I found is very healthy. They like these little pools like this, deeper, a little bit deeper water, got a lot of rocks there at the bottom that they can kind of hide around. But the important part is these roots. You see all the roots at the base of this tree here that just been collecting up a bunch of sticks and stuff like that. These pearl dace are very wood oriented fish, so they like to hang around wood structure like this. So when you have a mix of the sandy bottom, the rocks, and the sticks, you got deeper water with a little bit of current, you pretty much found pearl dace heaven. So as long as they should exist, there's a chance they might exist, but it's not a guarantee, especially in modern America, that you'll find these fish that are known to be hard to find in an urban area like this. The highway is just up there, so very cool to find that fish. I know I said Allegheny Pearl Dace probably 100 times in this video, but such a cool fish species, and finding it here, which before I had to drive 2.5 hours to catch my first Allegheny Pearl Dace, it's very special to me, and hopefully it's pretty cool to you guys. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like and subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next episode of the Ville Outdoors.